Good evening, everyone. Once again, we are starting time now. Appreciate everybody's time, and hopefully everybody had a great week. And like I always say, even if you didn't, the weekend is time for you to, wind down and prepare for the upcoming week. So tonight we have a very interesting topic. I was even thinking we've done this cyber chat before, but I don't think we've tackled this framework on its own as a subject. So we are going to be looking at zero trust. I know it's a buzzword that has been thrown around for a while, and if you've been in security for a minute, you've heard of zero trust, right? We're going to dive a bit deeper into it, how it came about, and really what is zero trust used for. And as security professionals, what are we going to use that for, or what is our contribution to zero trust, and how is it going to influence what we do as security professionals? But before we jump in, as everybody can see, we appreciate everybody's time and effort. Our goal was for our YouTube channel, Eretmis Cyber Security YouTube channel, our goal was to reach 1 million subscribers by October of this year. We hit 1 million subscribers July. So we are ahead of our goal. We're able to meet our goal way ahead of time. So appreciate everybody's help and effort, and for supporting the YouTube channel. Everything that we do for Cyber Chat is posted on our YouTube channel. And that is how our YouTube channel started. We're not even planning on subscribers or anything on YouTube. We barely even manage it, right? But now we are going to take it more seriously, since we have more people to take care of on YouTube. So we appreciate everybody's help. Thank you very much. So now we're going to get the gold plug. It's on the way. When we have it, we're going to show it, and show it to the whole entire Eretmis family. And also a big announcement tonight. We are going to be hosting our live event in Maryland in October, right? So there is a link for you to declare your intent, or if you are interested in attending this program. And we appreciate everybody's effort and everybody's help, and we encourage you to, if you want to attend this, kindly put it in there. That way we have a rough idea of the number of people who want to attend for planning purposes in terms of accommodation, and then also the hall that we are going to get right for this program. So kindly, it is being put in the chat. You can go ahead, and if you've not already done so, you can go ahead and use the link to let us know that you are going to be attending, right? So with that being said, we are jumping into tonight's session. So we are going to be looking at zero trust as a framework, and then also zero trust architecture briefly. But we're not going to go too deep into zero trust architecture. If you understand zero trust architecture becomes a little bit easier. So our YouTube channel, a screenshot of it. We are now at 1,000,001, right? 1.01 million subscribers, and that is everybody on here's got collective effort for making Eretmis what it is now. And this cyber chat is brought to you by Eretmis Academy, Cybersecurity Training Institute based in New York. And I'm Dr. Emmanuel Ledoux. I'm going to be your presenter for tonight. And a little bit about myself. If you're new to the family, I'm a cybersecurity everything, right? I love everything and anything cybersecurity. Been in IT for almost 24 years now. I am the founder of Eretmis Academy and the CEO of Eretmis Inc., a PCI QSA company and a cybersecurity consulting firm as well. And I used to be in the Army. I was a captain in the Army and a former professor at the University of Maryland Global Campus and CTC as well, right? And for Eretmis Academy, we are partners with CompTIA. We are authorized CompTIA partners, and we give 20%. We have 20% discount on all CompTIA vouchers, and we give that to everybody within the Eretmis family, and for cybersecurity, for cyber chat attendance. So if you're on here and you want to sit for any of the CompTIA certifications, if you reach out, we will be able to afford you the 20% discount for you to at least save some $100 or $80 or whatnot to be able to write the exam, right? And then also for folks who are in the security space, or if you've written any of the certification exams, as a requirement, every 3 years you are going to renew. So you renew, or you are going to maintain your certification by either sitting for the exam or using continuous educational points to meet the requirements, the renewal requirements. So attending cyber chats like this also helps you to do your continuous, to gain continuous educational points. So all you have to do is in the chat, you can put hashtag team live and then take a screenshot of it. And that is the number of screenshots you take for the different cyber chats. You can use that for, I think each one is a point piece, and you can use that for different certifications, different certification renewals, right? So with that, we are going to jump into some housekeeping stuff, and then we'll move into cyber news, and we'll move on. So, and also we have a WhatsApp group, Eretmis Cybersecurity WhatsApp group. We almost, I think, 10,025. I'm not sure if that is the max for WhatsApp now. They keep increasing and decreasing the number. So if you are not part of the WhatsApp group and you want to be part of it and keep up to date with all industry happenings in the cybersecurity space and be part of the family, you are most welcome. The link will be posted in the chat also as well. And there's what they call a WhatsApp channel. We have a Eretmis Cyber Chat on there as well. If you follow it, all the links to Cyber Chat and all that will be posted as well. Now, this was our original goal, to hit 1 million subscribers by October. We did that. Current subscribers is 1.01 million. So a big thank you to everybody for making this possible. And you can, you also have to keep subscribing if you've not subscribed already. If you want to stay up to date with Cyber Chat and everything we do on the Eretmis, in the Eretmis Cyber family, one way to stay up to date is subscribing to our YouTube channel and sharing it also as well among all cybersecurity enthusiasts. So for tonight, we will look at cyber news as usual, and then we will jump into our topic of discussion for tonight. So for cyber news, if you have any cyber news, kindly get it ready. We open the floor for you to share your cyber news also as well. Now, in the news this week, Rite Aid is in the news, and mostly when you have big corporate organizations in the news, you know what time it is, ransomware, right? So they got breached, and that is why they're in the news again. So there's a big again in here, right? It got breached again, and they've got breached, in the past. This time is by a ransomware, group, a Russia-based ransomware group that is called Ransom Hub. They are fairly new, but they are causing a lot of problems for these big corporate bodies. And what happened is they were able to breach Rite Aid's network, and apparently they claim they have about 10 gig. They've exfiltrated about 10 gig of their sensitive data, and they are giving them an ultimatum, right, to pay some money. Obviously, that is what they do in ransomware, and they're giving them 13 days to come up with the money, or they are going to leak their data that they've captured. And sometimes, even when you pay the money, they're still going to leak it anyways. But, right, you never know, right? So, do you pay or you don't pay? Or or you pay and then they'll still let some of the information out. Or so you are just playing with a bunch of criminals, and you don't even know if they have any integrity, right? So, but for companies, the goal is to try not to find yourself in this, predicament in the first place, by making sure you have great or good security in place, and most especially you are focusing on your awareness training for the people aspect of the equation, because that is where ransomware attacks are very successful, right? Now they use phishing emails and the rest, and people will just click on it, and that is how they get onto your network. So that is for Rite Aid. And guess who else is in the news? And guess what they are in the news for? AT&T. Same thing. They also got breached, right? And the attackers, this time around, I mean, for the information about them, it's not that we don't have concrete information as to the ultimatum that has been given to Rite Aid. For them, they've also been breached. And, it was through a third-party cloud platform that they are using. So the third-party cloud platform got breached. And then through that, attackers were able to get their hands on customers' information for AT&T customers. So this happened. So on April 2024, they just realized all this information, like they're compromised. Now they are working on it. So they are yet to announce or inform all affected parties, but then they've reported to security, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, because there is that obligation of you reporting to whichever industry or whichever government agency is directly in charge of you, and also to law enforcement. Either than that, some people might go to jail, right? So unfortunately, these two breaches were what made cyber news for this week. Now, we're going to open the floor. If you have any cyber news that is worth noting, kindly let us know. So raise your virtual hand and we'll give you the floor, at least 2 or 3, and then we are going to move on. So there's a lot of Team Lives in here. Yes, great. Thank you, Team Live, and then also some shout outs in here that we are going to look at later. So any cyber news for tonight before we move on? Renee, please go ahead. Yes, I knew Renee will have one.
Oh, hello. Well, this happened close to home. My husband's bank account was hacked, and you'll never guess where it got hacked from. England.
Wow.
But they didn't get any money. They were
Okay.
attempting, and the bank notified my husband to let him know that someone was trying to access, and they knew that he wasn't in England. So it was interesting. So now they had to stop everything, and now they got to reissue only his bank card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So that was
great. The bank was able to catch that. So the
yep.
attackers were trying to log into his
They were
online
trying to use
platform.
his account. They
Oh,
were trying to use his. I don't know how they got his bank card number,
hmm.
but that was the only thing that was impacted. So they just blocked everything, and then they just said they would issue a new card to him. But other than that, they were not able to get any money from his account.
Oh, okay, great. Good
Yeah.
news. I mean, good. Uh, they couldn't get their hands on anything, but
Yep.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
So everybody else, just be on the lookout. And I think the banks are doing a really good job now. I remember during COVID time where, most of the states were giving free food and free this and sending you food at home, and everybody was in the free mood. I have a friend of a friend, right? There was this link that was being circulated around that Walmart was giving free food, and people were just, like you click on the link, it will ask you for your information and details. Just like how it was happening at that time. You fill all your details and your address, and one of a friend's friend, right, he had the link, he was filling it out. It was like 4 pages. He filled 2 pages, and his bank called him. He almost didn't pick the call because it was disturbing him. He was filling his forms to get free food from Walmart, which he didn't need in the first place. I don't know for what reason. And the bank called him, he picked, and they were like, "Hi, Mr. Let's say John, Mr. John, why are you trying to close your checking and your savings account?" Like, and he's like, "No, I'm not." Like, yeah, you just called us here and we are trying to, transfer all the funds and close your account. So we decided to call, the number we have on file to make sure you are the one actually doing this. So what was happening was, as he was filling that information out, from the link that he received. The attackers were using that information, and right then they called his bank and tried to close out his account, right? Because the information that they had on the link, it will take you to a site and you are filling the forms. All that information were information that they could use to impersonate him on the side of his bank, right? And that was quick, as he was filling, they were using it. So just be on the lookout for, such things. So great. Thank you, Renee, for that input. Andrea, please go ahead.
Yes, hi. I just read about a new spyware attack that's been issued for iPhone users. So if you're currently using an iPhone, just to be aware, be sure to keep your device updated or your devices updated. But there's some news circulating around that there's some new spyware attack that's targeting iPhone specifically.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And so for everyone who has not jailbroken their iPhone, you are good. Just make sure you're updating it. But if you jailbroke your iPhone just to be able to get some apps and some movie sites, then you have to be concerned about this, right? But thank you, Andre. Mohammed, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have experienced one topic that we talked about, I think a couple of weeks ago, about the cryptocurrency and people that invest. There was a Telegram and WhatsApp app that was a group that was open and they were added me automatically. And as I was monitoring, they were encouraging, the participants to invest in crypto. And as I was monitoring, there were a lot of people that were, rooting and putting a lot of money into it. And what happened was, even some of them, they got, so excited about, this, they were refinancing their homes to put some money that they didn't really have. And after, I would say, like 2 or 3 weeks, the WhatsApp group was closed, and they were basically the WhatsApp admin, the Facebook that was managing thought that was some kind of a scam, and then they closed it. So they opened Telegram, and then they were fighting the people that were defiant or through the WhatsApp, joining there, and then everybody was still excited, and all of a sudden they were asking people after they make like thousand money to pay for the commission to get their money back. And that's when they started to get suspicious. They said, well, why don't you take the commission from the money that we invest? And they said, no, you have to pay that. So there were people that paid the commission too. And after they paid the commission, and then they asked to pay taxes. So, and all of a sudden they just, if you don't pay, they just take you off the from their group. So as I was, looking at and seeing, how people they were, scamming, I couldn't just watch it, and finally I put some notes that they're scammers, and just to watch it, and they just immediately removed me from the app. So if you see something like that, you automatically you find either to WhatsApp group or Telegram for crypto, just watch out, because there's a lot of scammers out there and they'll take advantage.
Well, thank you, Mohammed, for that insights. So I think everybody should just be very cautious of such. Mostly, I think we were looking at some statistics, some cyber chats ago, I think almost a month ago, and like when it comes to these types of attacks, the ones that were very successful were similar to this crypto investments and the rest, and because that is where they were able to kind of take you on a path that you are not normally familiar with, right? We will do this and that, do that, and these blockchains do. So things that you don't really kind of understand, and that is how they are going to get you, right? So if you want to invest, mainstream investment is there. So not some random WhatsApp group asking you to invest and people giving false testimonies. So just be on the lookout. I mean, these things have been there for a while. Thank you, Mohammed, for that. And with that, we are going to move on. I appreciate everybody's time. So kindly continue to put where you're joining us from in the chat, and we'll give you some shout out later on. Our July 4th promotion ends on the 15th. So we have like 3 days to go. If you've not taken advantage of that already, please do. Now, you can take advantage of that with the entry level and the entry level internship. So for entry level, for anyone looking to break into the cybersecurity space, this is the course that is going to help you to do so, right? From any background, you don't need an IT or cybersecurity background. You can start from zero, and we will take you from there to where you are going to be at the level of intermediate level skills and knowledge. Now, this training comes with hands-on training where you're going to work with most of the cybersecurity tools, Nexus, Wireless, the different categories of tools. We are going to walk you through to build your own cybersecurity lab. And then once you are done with that, going through the training, giving you that foundation, going through all the major areas of security, cryptography, identity and access management, risk management, to give you a very solid working knowledge foundation in the security space, and then move you into the skills portion where you get to work with the tools. And then once you've done the second or the next portion of the courses, to move you into the internship, where you get to work on 10 major security projects from audits, incident response, third-party, security awareness training, doing governance stuff, working on policies, and others, right? So you can take advantage of the 30% going on to jump into the entry level if you're looking to break into the security space. And then also for our PCI DSS training, we have the specialist and expert. New cohort is starting on the 25th of this month. You can also take advantage of the 30% promotion on this one also as well. So for anyone already with IT background or some cybersecurity background looking to specialize in the most lucrative niche in the security space, you can jump onto our PCI DSS training, right? And then for folks with already some IT or cybersecurity background who want to get into cybersecurity, but they think they have some good foundation in terms of knowledge already, but you are lacking the hands-on, right? Working on real world projects in the security space, then you can jump into our GRC internship and workshop, which is also going to start on the 27th. It was originally scheduled for 20th, but it's been moved to 27th because next week 20th is going to be graduation for our interns who are passing out, right? So you can also take advantage of the 30% on this one also as well. And this is what differentiate our training, or what differentiate products coming from Eretmis from any other institution, because during interviews, you are speaking to things you've done, not things you've memorized or you were taught, right? If you've done something and you are speaking about it, is different from if you read about it, right? So that is the difference. And then most importantly, on the job, what are you going to do on the job, right? If you are given that opportunity, will you be able to actually work? You can have all the certifications in the world, but if you've not really encountered working on real world projects, on the job is not the place for you to do try and error, because you are getting paid all this money. Nobody's going to babysit you and walk you through how to do the job. Most people think you do on the job training. On the job, what they do is orientation. They are going to orient you to what they have and what the tools and how they are structured and how they operate. But nobody's really going to show you how to do the job. You have to come on board knowing how to do your job already. They're just going to orient you to maybe the tools they are using. If you're not familiar with the tools, that is fine. They can show you that. But really doing the job and your understanding of security itself and the different aspects of it, nobody's going to teach you that on the job. So the GRC internship will help you to, gain that mastery. And it's GRC internship, but we go beyond GRC, right? but we do everything and anything GRC as well. So take advantage of this. Also, this will help you to really be able to function effectively in the cybersecurity space, right? So our big for our folks with entrepreneurial aspirations, if you want to set up a cybersecurity business in the near future, our cybersecurity business owner training is, what you have to jump into, right? This training is going to help walk you through how to build a cybersecurity company from scratch. So not just walk you through, but by the end of this training, you have your company ready, set up to go with everything that you need. And when we are done, you're also going to be ready with a customer, right? A paid or unpaid customer, at least, but you have all the structures, everything in place. And at least you would have gained 1 or 2 customers before we wrap up this program. It's a very practical, hands-on. It's not just theory, but we are going to walk you through. So everything that we do, we walk you through, you are going to do before we meet. All as we are going through every week, there's a project for you to work on. So if you have no company, you don't know how to set up a company, the different aspects of it, the banking aspect, getting funds or credit we walk you through all that, right? Choosing a niche within the cybersecurity space, we walk you through all that also as well, right? So you can take advantage of the 30% also with the CBOT as well, right? Now, the biggest announcement, our Eretmis Cybersecurity Conference finally is here. It's going to be in Maryland. So, shout out to all Maryland folks. So DMV area is where we're going to host it. This is going to be our first maiden edition. So we are very happy and excited about it. And we hope everybody, is going to be attending, and, we're going to see everybody in person. And also, one biggest item on here is that on this week, Cyber Chat is going to be in person, right? So that is going to be very exciting. We're going to hold Cyber Chat in person, and we'll be able to see everybody and talk and, discuss and share knowledge. And we are not going to be, virtual like we always do. So that is the most fun and exciting part. So kindly make it a point to attend. The link to declare your intention of joining has been posted in the chat. So kindly use that to just fill out the forms and sign up and let us know that you attended. That way we use that for planning processes. And also next week or thereabout, the more information is going to be available, and we're going to send it out in terms of, the hotel and pricing and everything. We are going to push it out, right? So Sandra, please go ahead. I think Sandra has a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask where exactly in Maryland is going to be.
So that is yet to be determined, but it's going to be in Maryland. Okay. All right. So with that, we are going to jump into zero trust framework, and then also zero trust architecture. So before we jump into it, I'm just going to pose the question: what is zero trust? I mean, just take 2 or 3 inputs, and then we are going to move forward. When we say zero trust, if you've heard about it or you have some ideas or thoughts about it, you can bring it up. So what is zero trust? Anyone for $5? Zero trust. If you can take the words.
I know, I can say it. You call
Okay, so
money,
nobody
Dr.
knew
That was a
until
mistake.
$5 was up for grabs. Okay, so kindly go
I'm
ahead,
just
but
kidding.
please raise your virtual hand. That way we don't talk over each other. Yes.
All right, sorry about that. So it's a security module that requires strict identity verification and authentication for both device and users within and outside the perimeter of the network. So nothing is trusted. So trust nothing, verify everything.
Okay, great. Thank you. So like the names suggest zero trust. Mike, please go ahead. You are muted if you're trying to speak.
Oh, okay. So yes, the last statement she made. So just putting it in like everyday language is like, okay, we want to not trust everything that comes to our network or our system. and we want to verify everything. So that way we are not taken by any surprises. So just in everyday language, yes, that's what it is.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. So I think if there is nobody else with their hands up, we are going to move on. Zero trust is a very interesting concept, and not only for security, but we can apply it in our individual lives, in our daily lives. But I think we are all very guilty of not using zero trust in our everyday life. And I'm going to give an example for us to know exactly why. So, if we take your house, your apartment, for example, when you're about to go to sleep, right, or when you get home, you lock the main door behind you, right? Like you lock the main door. And I don't think so. Let's say, for example, if you are going to sleep, right? That would be a very good example. So you are going to sleep. Once you go into your bedroom and you get on your bed, you are not going out again to other aspects of your apartment or of your house, right? So if we are going to sleep and we are inside our house, mostly what we do is we just lock the front door. Nobody goes to the kitchen and lock the kitchen door, goes to the living room and lock the living room door if there is, a living room door, goes to all the other rooms and lock the doors and put all the keys together and put it in your bedroom and go to sleep. Who does that? If you do that, I'm going to give you $100. I don't think anybody on here does that. You just lock the front door and then that's it, right? The house, apartment, whatnot, that is what we do. We lock the main door and then that's it, right? Now, that is not zero trust in terms of security principles, right? Because what we are doing is we are practicing security. It is not zero trust. We are doing the traditional, and that is what we used to do for, everything IT security, cybersecurity, information security. In our organizations, we have a network and that we are using. Traditionally, we're just using on-prem network. So network, your computers are physically connected to each other, and we have a network and we operate and do everything within the network. That our enterprise system was on there also as well. So we were most concerned about our front door, right? And with that concept of our front door, we came up with boundaries. So just like for your house, for your apartment, the whole building, right, is the boundary, right? And we have a front door. So this is the boundary, this is the front door. You have some windows and whatnot, but those might be closed. So for an attacker to get in, they have to come through the front door, right? Now, if an attacker with that concept, and in security, what we use security models and concepts to protect ourselves. So in our daily lives or in IT or on your network, those concepts, the principles are pretty much the same, right? So I think everybody can really relate to what I'm talking about, right? So we are using the same concept we are using at home in IT and on our networks and everything. So this is our boundary. This is our home. This is my apartment. Anybody who is in the apartment is considered, trusted. So if your cousin comes in or you have some visitors and they come in, they are good people, right? I mean, so we are not mostly concerned about locking all our doors. And if somebody wants to go to your guest restroom, they have to come get the key from you. If somebody wants to go to your kitchen, they have to come for the key from you, right? We don't do that. In the same way is what we're doing in security, right? So it was just that one big door that we are protecting, and we had a perimeter. So in the security space on your network, and it was like a logical or conceptual boundary. We have that boundary, right? And we are protecting that boundary. And anybody who was able to get into that boundary or get into that house or that building, they had access to everything. They had access to your kitchen, to your living room, because there were no extra layers of security or for us to lock our different doors and different areas within our network, right? So we were using that for a while. And then, some schools of thought were coming up with, I mean, what are we doing, right? Somebody gets in our building, they have access to everything. They can go to our kitchen, they can go to our restroom, they can go to, why don't we make sure we are putting in place some extra security measures whereby even if they get into our house or get into our apartment, they are in, but they don't have access to all other areas of the apartment or the house, right? So they can get in, but they are just in. If they have to go to the kitchen, it is locked. If they have to go to the restroom, it is locked. If they have to go to your bedroom, it's locked. The other bedroom is locked. So they are there. The only thing they'll have access to is anything within like your hallway or those areas, right? So that makes it difficult for an attacker who is able to break into break into your security, even a security measure that you have in place, break into your front door or go through your windows and get into your house or they don't really have, if we are practicing zero trust, then they wouldn't have that access to anything else. They are just in, but they are just in, right? Andrea, please go ahead.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to highlight, I shared a PDF in the chat with everyone, and it does a really great job of highlighting the outside in, I guess, approach that you're talking about. So from the perimeter, the client devices, all the way to the internal. It's to think of it as a onion, if you will. And the outside of the onion is going to be where your clients or your devices sit, whereas the very center of the onion is going to be the data. So before they can penetrate all of those different layers, you have security measures in each and every single step of the way.
Yes.
So this PDF does a great job of highlighting that.
Thank you, Andrea, for that. And I think, Mike, did you have your hand up?
Oh yes, I put it down, but maybe I can speak real quick. So I want to share this with you and see if that is a form of a zero trust. Then I think I might get a $50 instead of the 100 you promised. So what I do is with my kids, I told them if you're home and somebody knocks at the door, I have a passcode with them. For instance, let's say there are 3 of them. I said the key is 1, 2, 3. So even if you hear mommy's voice or you hear daddy's voice, you still need to ask for the passcode. If you don't hear 1, 2, 3, you don't open the door. Would that be considered a zero trust approach that I practice in my home, and then I get my $50?
Well, that is an extra layer of defense, but I wouldn't necessarily call that zero trust, because the moment somebody is able to get into, so let's say somebody knows your 1, 2, 3, and they say it, and the kids open the door for them. Once they get in, your living room is not locked, your bedroom is not locked, all your bedrooms are open, or your kitchen is open. So I can still have access to everything within your facility or your building, your house, your apartment, right? But with zero trust, even if you are inside our apartment, we still don't trust you. So we will lock every door. So hopefully that helps. Bartholomew, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
No, I just wanted to say to the previous speaker that looks like multi-factor authentication, not zero trust. Multi-factor authentication.
Like 2-factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 2-factor. Yes. All right. Thank you, Bartholomew. And thank you, everyone, for making the discussion very interesting. So we are going to look at some, diagrams and some concepts, some security defense concepts that we had prior to zero trust. And I think I spoke a little bit extensively about that. So we had what we call the perimeter defense, right? So network perimeter defense. And this is an example. So we have our internet on the left side, and this is supposed to be your local area network with your firewall defending traffic coming in, inspecting and making sure we are allowing only good traffic to come onto our local area network. And, this is a very simple setup. So before Zero Trust, the idea was that anything that was allowed in this perimeter, any traffic, anybody, any person that was allowed in here was considered to be good. So just like in your house, if they are allowed to come through the front door and they are inside your apartment or in your house, then they can easily go. We're not actively trying to protect every single endpoint or device or every single room, right? So once they are in, maybe they came in. So Dr. Edu just showed up to your house. Hey, I was passing by and I wanted to say hi, and you allow me in. We share a drink or two, and maybe you are like, okay, I want to pick something from my bedroom. So as you are going to your bedroom, I can sneak into your kitchen and maybe pick another bottle of champagne and hide it in my coat, right? And I'm able to do that because your kitchen is not locked, right? So I can sneak into any other area of your house and do anything, and you wouldn't even know, right? So, and with that, I'm getting to the point of it wasn't only people who were. It wasn't only people who are coming from the outside that we should worry about, right? We have insider threats as well. So if somebody used to work within our local area network, right? There are workers who are working in the corporate network, and they can also decide to do some malicious, activities if probably they are disgruntled or they want to do it for monetary purposes or for something, any reason. They can do something bad, but if we are locking every single device and they have to get permission to explicit permission to be able to get onto any part of the network, then there is very little that they can do, and they can cause less harm, right? So this is one of the concepts that we're using. And now, like similar also here, mostly we're concerned about this is the perimeter, our conceptual perimeter. So this is your security perimeter, and you have your endpoint. And if an attacker got on your network, they were able to breach your perimeter for some reason, right? Or even if they worked inside your perimeter, they could do lateral movement. So it's like if I got onto into your house or into your apartment, I can move from your kitchen to your bedroom I can just move anyhow I want, right? So lateral movement were not really restricted, and they could also exfiltrate. I can take information out, from I can take information, I can take data or devices out also as well, right? So these were all some of the concepts that we still when we talk about zero trust, we are going to get more into it, but it's not just one concept. Is for us to be able to even execute and practice zero trust, we need to stack up different principles and concepts to be able to pull it off, right? This is also network segmentation, one of the ways that we were using to protect our networks as well, right? So network segmentation is where we break the whole entire network into little chunks, or bigger chunks, where we manage and monitor what goes on in each little mini network. And that was also a way of us practicing security. We still use network segmentation because it's still very effective, right? And this is also another follow-up on network segmentation as well. So we have two segments. We use firewalls to set up to help us set up our segmentations as well, together with other network security controls systems, right? And then micro segmentations within your segmentation. You can also do a segmentation within your segmentation. So many segmentations within your segmentation. All these were principles that we used and we still use. right? Now let's look at, for an example, or comparing zero trust and our perimeter-based security principles or concepts, right? For zero trust, for our perimeter-based, we have the security perimeter, right? With zero trust, we don't really consider anything to be a security perimeter, right? Everything is in play. And like the name suggests, we don't really trust anybody. So we put in place security controls on every single item. So on our mobile devices, applications, on how people are able to access our systems remotely, in the cloud, either purely cloud or hybrid, personal devices, and even vendors and contractors who have access to our systems. We have how we deal with them within the zero trust space, right? So, and then also VPN are also some of the concepts that we use. We still use VPN, and now, not to say that what we were using previously in terms of security concepts were not good. They are good, but zero trust now even made it better, right? Because those same principles are stuck up on each other to help us to pull off zero trust or to execute zero trust effectively. So VPNs are also a secured way, a way that we use to secure our networks as well, right? And this is also a follow-up on some setup for VPNs. So just some more fancy pictures on the different concepts that we used to use. Now, what is zero trust? We're going to look at the book definition of zero trust, right? We looked at that from the grandpa style, defining it and making it very simple, everyday life. But from the book or from academia standpoint, zero trust, and looking at it from a technical standpoint, is evolving set of cybersecurity principles and concepts or paradigms. Paradigms is how we perceive or how we look at stuff, right? So this kind of mindset in security moved us from the static network-based perimeter, way of defending to focusing on users, assets, and resources. So we are now picking or defending individual items within the network. So we have totally moved from the mindset of perimeter, because now defining perimeter is almost impossible, right? Previously, we have our traditional network on-prem, it was, but with the introduction of the cloud, introduction of, new technological, activities and events, it becomes a bit really difficult to pinpoint and say this is the perimeter. Just like how we fight on the military front now, right? There is no, you can't say this is your defined battleground, right? So we fight here, just like in the past, where they could declare this is the battleground. So we can move to this side, move to that side, come for 3 months, and when we are ready, we all come and meet on the field and fight. It doesn't work this like that. Now you can be on your way to pick up your food or your resources from somewhere, and somebody will just attack you in the middle of the road with IEDs. They can ambush you anywhere and everywhere. So there is really no integrity in today's day and age when it comes to fights. Either you are fighting on the cyber front or in real world, in person, right? So it becomes hard for you to define that it is going to happen this way or that way, or define the perimeter, right? Because a company has an on-prem network. They are also in the cloud, right? So they are practicing, they have on-prem, they are in the cloud, so it's kind of hybrid. They have remote workers from, different areas. They allow remote access to their network on-prem and then also in the cloud. They have different locations around the world. That makes it how do you define your perimeter? It's almost impossible, right? So, but if we are using the paradigm of zero trust, now we are tackling individual items and events, right? We are setting up security infrastructures and putting security principles for these individual items, rather than looking at it from a perimeter standpoint of defending this whole area, and anything, that is inside the area is good, anything outside is bad. We are moving from that mindset. So that is all that zero trust is, pushing, right? So zero trust assumes that there is no implicit trust granted to assets or user accounts based on solely the physical location or network location, or based on ownership of any assets, right? So hopefully this is starting to make more sense in terms of the focus, right? And then also it focuses on the protection of resources. So like your assets, your workflow, your network accounts. What zero trust is not going to do is it does not focus on just network segments or on your network location. So this is no longer your network location or like your segments are no longer seen as the prime concept to your security posture, right? So more when we're using just the perimeter security concept, your network location, network segments, they were what we were primarily focusing on, right? Now, also, zero trust now assumes that there is no traditional network edges, so there's no boundaries or parameters, right? Because of how we are set up now, cloud, on-prem, hybrid, remote workers, remote access, and all these, they are unique challenges that we are facing now as opposed to 10 years ago or 15, 20 years ago, right? So zero trust seeks to address the uniqueness of our modern technological challenges and advancements, to helping us to secure remote work, remote access to our networks, the cloud, and also helping to thwart the effort of ransomware attack and other forms of attacks. So when it comes to zero trust, our main focus should be on authentication and authorization, right? Because for every single item or every single endpoint or every single device or whatever data we are trying to protect, we make sure that for anybody to have access to anything, they need to authenticate and get authorization before they are granted access to that. Unlike previously, where once you are able to authorize and authenticate onto the network, everything was in play. You had access to everything. You could move laterally to anywhere and everywhere. Now that is not the case, right? So you can be granted access onto the network, but you still need access to different systems and different data or different resources on the network if you want to have access to it, right? So you still have to authenticate and get authorization before you'll be able to have access to anything, right? So the concept of zero trust, it was built as in response to our enterprise network trends, such as remote works, cloud-based assets, bring your own device, and others, right? So, and then also to do away with your traditional network boundaries. So the history, what is the history behind zero trust? So zero trust, as we have it now, it was a concept. It is a concept that has been around for a while, but the word zero trust was coined by somebody, right? But the concept was there, it's been around for a while, and organizations like BISA and Department of Defense, they had some publications. Sometimes I think some of it as way back as 2004. They were, toying with these ideas, but nobody really came up with that word, zero trust, right? So they came up with publications where they were concerned about why we were the perimeter security approach. They were concerned that it wasn't that efficient, or if somebody was within the perimeter and they were an insider threat, they could cause harm. If somebody was able to, for some reason, maneuver their way or into the perimeter, then they also had access to everything, right? So that was a concern. So they had a publication. I think they call it the Black Core. And this publication, the focus was to move away from the enterprise based, from the perimeter based security model that we were using. And also they had another forum, the Jericho Forum in 2004. They also had a publication on that. That was the intent was to deparameterize our networks, right? So all these were they were ideas on the path of zero trust. But eventually in 2010, a security researcher called John Candiva, right, came up with this was the one who coined zero trust, the word zero trust, right? So, and the concept zero trust, which the concept itself was being toyed around and played around, but he's the one who really solidified it and gave it a name, zero trust. And he was part of the Forrester research, right? So now the word zero trust that we have came from Mr. John, right? And he came up with this based on everything that we've talked about, right? With cloud computing, becoming now becoming like the base for everything that we do now. And we are shifting gradually from on-prem, although on-prem networks are going to be still around, but most in the next 10 years, everything is probably just going to move into the cloud. Mobile, usage, mobile devices and all that and other technological advancements informed zero trust. So the concept itself, the word itself, zero trust, was coined by John Candiva, right? Now, before zero trust, what did we have? We kind of talked about almost all of it. Perimeter defense, VPNs, networks, segmentation, endpoint security, role-based access control. All these were some of the security concepts and principles that we used to help keep our network safe. But now for zero trust, what are the key principles or the core principles of zero trust that makes it what it is to help us to really defend our network? So verify explicitly. So we have to always authenticate and authorize based on all available data points, including user identity, location, device health, and service or workload. So like Renee was talking about how her husband's bank was able to thwart the effort of some malicious actors who were trying to get access to his bank account. They used the location, right, as one of their data points. So they know you are based in the United States. You don't frequently travel or you don't go to the UK. So if somebody is trying to access your account from the UK, then that is a red flag, right? So that falls under the verify explicitly. So the authentication and authorization, the location as a data point was what helped to thwart that effort. So now the next principle is use least privilege access. So the principle of least privilege is also being used here. And what is the principle of least privilege? Anybody want to chime in? Who can walk us through in a very simple and grandpa's style? What is the principle of least privilege? Let's go ahead, Andre.
You only give people what they need, no more and no less. So basically start from the bottom, give them the least amount of privilege necessary, and then slowly over time add more.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andre. Emmanuel, please go ahead.
I thought, okay, thank you. I thought, I just said it all. Yeah, least principle of least privilege, granting access, as in, we call it need to know just what they need to do their business or to do their job and nothing more.
Okay. Yeah. And with that, we also have something we call privilege creep. If anybody wants to chime in on that also, Nibichi, please go ahead. So if you can also
Looks
add
like-
privilege creep to it, what is
Okay,
privilege
sure.
creep?
So least privilege is just getting the kind of permissions, the level of permissions that match your job description, what you need to perform your job well. And that's from NIST. That can be tracked to NIST 853 AC6. Just, extra information. And then privilege
Okay.
creep is just, I don't know if it's the same as privilege escalation, maybe laterally or vertically, whichever way, but it's just giving yourself more access than you are supposed to have according to what the admin or whoever owns the system you're on thinks you should have to perform your job.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Harvey, please go ahead.
Thank you. In relation to privilege creep, if you will, say someone's granted access and then for a period of time, if they don't need it any longer, the access should be removed.
Okay.
Hence, if they don't need it any longer, just reduce it back.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Right on the money. Jamal, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Duke. Yeah, I was pretty much going to piggyback on what he said. Sometimes someone would leave a position and they no longer need access to that particular department, but they don't take them off of, they don't revoke the access. So they wind up having access to different areas that they don't currently need anymore. So I think that's privilege creep.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. And reason why I brought that up is, mostly when we talk about principle of least privilege, what principle of least privilege seeks to do is to help avoid privilege creep. And then also help avoid so privilege creep, accumulating different privileges over time that you don't need. But sometimes admins, they get too comfortable and they get a bit complacent and a bit lazy. So Randall gets to a company, he's going to work in finance, right? And even in finance, he's like a financial specialist, or if there is any role like that. So, but then instead of just giving him access to that role, I just grant him access to, like all access to everything finance, because I don't want him to come back later on when he's been promoted to the manager of finance, and then I have to go through and give him more access. I just give him one big access and that's it. And sometimes when I'm buddy with him, I even think I make it look like I'm doing him a favor. I'm granting him more access, so he's cool, right? I mean, we are friends. But for security, that is a big no-no, right? You only need access to what you need to be able to function. The level of access you need is the least that you need that will be able to make you do your work effectively. Nothing more, nothing less, like Andrea said, right? So nothing more, nothing less. If you are the financial manager, or you are the HR and you are the senior HR, we give you senior HR access. You are not going to have access to the finance folder because you don't work in finance, right? Even within HR, if your level is not to the point where you have to access everything HR, we just limit your access, right? So if we do that, then people are not able to do, bad stuff. And then also, if we don't even focus on people within the company for malicious actions, when somebody is able to break into is able to breach a network, and when you breach into a network, you breach into somebody's device before you be able to get. So the device, breaching into your device, you are on the network, right? So if I breached Jamal's, endpoint, and that granted me access to the network, I automatically assume the privileges of the system I'm able to breach, or that I use to breach the network, right? So if that end user has more privileges than they need, then that is a problem. So if I'm able to breach a normal user, then I'm limited to what I can do on the network. But if the normal user was granted an admin access, then that makes my life easier, because now I have more access. I can move, easily on the network. So that is, and then also for somebody for internal malicious actors, so insider threats, if they have the less access they have, the less they can do, right? So, and also for privilege creep, if I used to work in admin and now I've been moved into the security team, they have to take my admin privileges because if they don't, I'm carrying that along. So if now I move from admin to HR, I assume HR privileges also. So I have network access to all HR systems and data. Now they move me into IT. I become the IT manager. I am assuming the IT manager privileges as well. They move me into finance. I'm assuming the finance. So if I work in the company for 20 years, or even less, I'll have access to everything and anything, right? And it doesn't work that way. So even if you're a CEO to the company, it doesn't mean you're going to have access to everything within the company in terms of, systems and data. What you need to do your CEO job is what is going to be granted to you, right? Nothing more, nothing less. So the last principle here is assume breach. So minimize the blast radius and segment access. So we are assuming a breach is possible or breach might be happening anytime soon. So we verify end-to-end encryption and use analytics to get visibility, drive threat detection, and also improve defense, right? So these are the three main core principles of zero trust. And to be able to implement this, we go into other areas of security and use some of these old concepts and principles that we were using previously as well to help us to pull this off, right? So this is an AI generated picture of our perimeter security and also our zero trust. So I don't know if they were trying to be fancy on here, but I think the perimeter was, I don't know how they spelled this, but this is a pretty cool AI picture. And this was just, hey, AI, give us a castle concept of perimeter security and zero trust. And this is what they gave us. So with perimeter security, what we used to have traditionally for your castle, if you are defending it, you are going to defend, this is your perimeter, right? I mean, that is how castles were built. The ideology of what we were doing or the goal was also informed by what we used to do in the past, in the olden days. So this is the perimeter, right? You cannot breach it. You have to go through here, or I mean, good luck trying to go through any of these walls. Pretty thick walls, very strong. So you go through, if you're able to breach the front door, then you are in, right? So we assumed everybody in here within the castle was good people, right? If you're outside, if we authenticate, we identify and authenticate you and you are good, then we authorize you to come inside. Then we are assuming you are good. But that wasn't always the case, right? That wasn't always the case. Now, if you've seen the movie Troy, that is where we got the word Trojan horse for the Trojan horse malware, right? Troy, where one country was trying to breach the city, another city, and they tried and tried in vain. So they decided to make a horse. They all left, the whole entire army left, and they left a horse in front of, like the city gates to kind of show appreciation, and not appreciation, but kind of to say, okay, sorry, we tried to breach or take over your city. This is a gift for you. Unknowingly, they had soldiers in there. And when these people moved the wooden horse, a big wooden horse, into their city, in the night, the soldiers came out and they took over the city, right? So anything that is inside is not necessarily good. But if you look at zero trust, on the other hand, it means we are defending every single area of this castle, right? So everywhere you have to authenticate to get to, to get authorization into different areas, and we are defending every single area. So to be able to take over this castle, and this castle is going to take you way more and your success rate is going to be very limited here than here. Here, once you're able to bridge and get in, you are in, right? So, and once you are in, you can go to all these other places as well. So this is just some visual, extra visual stuff for you to really appreciate what we're talking about. Now, for what are some of the use cases of zero trust? So in security, when we say use cases, what are some of the situations and scenarios whereby zero trust will be used? So for remote work, cloud security, insider threats, it helps avoid insider threats, like we just saw. Third-party access. So third-party access, kindly mute. So third-party access and also micro-segmentation. All these are some of the use cases whereby zero trust will come very handy, right? So we are also going to look at zero trust in today's security. So for security professionals today, what are we supposed to do, and how is zero trust changing the game for us, right? Now, the paradigm shift in how we viewed security in the past, or how we view security even in our homes, should start changing, right? I think now everybody will start thinking about just, locking just your front door, to your house or to your apartment, and that is not enough, right? So if we are not in the habit of locking other areas, I mean, sometimes it's not really practical to lock everything. If you are in the house during the day, walking around and going to different areas, that is fine. But in the night, you might want to, some areas that you think you have some valuables, you probably want to lock it if, after locking your main door. So at least you are practicing some in-house zero trust principles at home also as well. So for us as security professionals, what are we going to take out of this? So zero trust requires, or it helps us to do continuous monitoring and verification, micro-segmentation, adaptive authentication. So now implementing multi-factor and then also risk-based access control will help us to really enforce better security, comprehensive visibility, because now with all these AI tools and other monitoring SIM tools and the rest, we're able to get high level visibility on our security as well. And then also data protection. Now zero trust helps us to protect data better with more integrity and enforcing integrity and confidentiality as well, right? So as security professionals, these are some of the things that we are getting out of zero trust as a principle or as a framework. And for zero trust architecture, right? If we talk about cybersecurity architecture, who can give us? We did a whole session on cybersecurity architecture. Anybody remembers what is security architecture? Cybersecurity architecture and design. What does it really entail or involve? Anyone? So if you know what, Randall, please go ahead.
I would say in simple terms is first segmenting the risk, if you will. I mean, of course, there's the network as a whole, but finally, the intention is to block and isolate the related segments so you can deploy, if you will, control and limited access for the employees and staff, and of course, the outsiders.
Yes. So everything that Randall said falls directly under our architecture, right? So for security architecture, just like how we do architecture in everyday life when we are building our houses and other, facilities, we first do architectural design, right? Where we come up with how the building is going to look and the principles, in terms of security, how many doors and the rooms. In security, we do the same thing. If a company has to set up a security, security infrastructure, we first there has to be a security architect who is going to go through and design, right, how security is going to play out in the company. Now, zero trust becomes the foundation or the fundamental concept that influences how we do the architecture of our security infrastructure, right? So that is where we are getting zero trust architecture from, right? So it's the normal architecture, how we set up our security. And now on top of that, we have an underlying principles that is going to be your zero trust, right? So zero trust architecture is an enterprise security architecture that is based on zero trust principles. Is that pretty simple, right? So everything that Randall said directly falls under this, right? So with that, we are going to wrap up for tonight, and subsequent security cyber chats, we might probably go more in depth into different use cases where we can apply zero trust. Now, the zero trust framework, we didn't touch the framework itself, but there is only one organization has been able to come up with a full-blown framework, security framework for zero trust, and that is NIST. And the NIST 800-207 is your zero trust framework. So everybody kindly download that from the NIST website. It's a good read, really lays out everything that you need to know about zero trust. Now, we are wrapping up, so we are going to just do some housekeeping and then leave the floor for any questions. Our 30% 4th of July promotion is still going on. It ends on the 15th. And if you are looking to get into the security space, become a cybersecurity professional, our cybersecurity entry-level course will help you to do that. So start you off from no IT background, cybersecurity background, to where you can start working in the security space, making 6 figures and up. And then also for folks looking to specialize in the cybersecurity space, if you're already in IT or you have some cybersecurity background, PCI DSS is one of the lucrative areas that you can specialize in. And our PCI DSS class starts on the 25th. You can also take advantage of that with the 30%. And then for folks with some IT background, cybersecurity background, looking to get some real-world hands-on experience working on different cybersecurity projects. That way, during interviews, you can speak to projects you've done, not things that you just studied or memorized. So if you have certifications, 3 or 2, and you really know you cannot do the job, you have to jump onto our GRC internship. Our next cohort is starting on the 27th this month, right? So you can also take advantage of that with a 30%. And then for our business owners, if you want to set up shop, if you're a cybersecurity professional now, you should look at your in the very near future, you can also set up shop in the cybersecurity space, right? And we give you everything that you need to be a very successful cybersecurity company. So if you want to jump onto this course also as well, you don't have to wait till when you want to set up your company. When you come through, we walk you through and set your company up for you before the end of the program, right? And show you all the tips and tricks that you need, how to apply for government contracts, how to write proposals, and all that is included. So you can get onto that also. New cohort is starting on the 23rd. Now, the biggest of it all, in October, we are going to do Cyber Chats live in person, and it's going to be part of the conference that we are holding. Our first Eretmis Cybersecurity conference is going to be on the 25th of October to 27th. It's going to be in Maryland. There's that location yet to be put out. So kindly, we've put in the chat the link for you to show your interest. You can go ahead and fill out the information in there, and we will really appreciate that. And then also our WhatsApp group, the link will be posted as well. So now we are going to wrap up for questions, and we will wrap up for tonight. So if there are any questions, kindly, you can kindly bring it up, or if there are any comments, any additions to what we were discussing. And as we are waiting for questions in here, we will go through and give some shout outs to everybody joining us. So now for the Maryland or DMV folks won. The first conference is going to be in DMV, and the next one we're probably going to choose the location as we move along. So kindly go ahead. Renee, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have a couple people who are not part of this, but they are interested in participating, but they live so far. Will they be able to do a Zoom for the conference or not?
Yes. So the Zoom, the conference will be streamed live also as well.
Okay.
So for folks who are not able to join in person, they will also be able to have access to it stream live. So during Cyber Chat on that day, they will be live and then also being streamed. So you can also participate online as well. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So I think the link was posted, is going to be reposted again, and you can use that link to show your intent, by going ahead and filling out the forums. And then all the information will be sent out when they are ready. All right, so as we are waiting for anyone who is looking to renew your certifications team live, I've seen a couple of folks in there. Please kindly go ahead and type it in there and take a screenshot of it. Okay, so UK was asking a question in here. Okay, but I think for music, you was talking about if somebody can play a music or something. I think when we were waiting, so we don't play music or any of that, because when you put the video on YouTube, copyright infringements and others, right? So the only copyright is going to be our own voices on here, which nobody can claim, right? So Brian is joining us from Dallas, Texas. Andy from Chicago. Michael from Vancouver, Canada. Michael Knox from LA, and Isaiah from Newark, New Jersey. Mohammed, Minnesota. Henry Dallas, and we have Andrew from MA Pittsfield, and Olua all joining us from Nigeria. Thank you. I think it's like almost 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in Nigeria. Thanks. Thomas from Texas, and Alem from Maryland, Peter, Nashville, George, Illinois, Natalie, Ohio, Huyen, Dallas, Texas. We have Kweku from Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, AC Cleveland, David, Connecticut, Henry, Dallas, New York, Bright from New York, and the list goes on. I think, okay, Nibichi, Maryland. Oh, Nibichi was asking which city in Maryland. Okay, so we appreciate everybody's time for tonight. If there are any questions, kindly bring it up. If not, we will wrap up here shortly. Osha, Fort Worth, Donald, Houston, Texas, and the list goes on. So we appreciate everybody. If we missed yours in the chat, we didn't mean to miss it. Good luck, Virginia. Right. All right, everyone. So we are wrapping up for tonight. We appreciate everybody's time. This is Eretmis Cyber Chat. We're wrapping up for tonight. Have a great weekend, everyone. And the video will be available on YouTube, where it was being streamed live. So it's going to be available. And also the video that we're going to upload will also be on there as well. So join us again next week for another educative edition of Cyber Chat. And before we go, David, please go ahead. I think David had his hand up.
I think I'll call you and then ask you my question. It's not
okay
related to this.
All right, David. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we are going to meet again next week, same time. Good night, everyone.
Good night.